Hi everyone, it's Christine Harrington, the Savvy Sales Lady, back with the fabulous expert in the United Kingdom, Simon White, and more of Simon White's wisdom. Tell us what we're going to talk about today, Simon.
Thanks, Christine. Today we're going to be talking about follow-up, which is a critical step in that sales process.
I so agree. And one of the things that I see as a pattern when I'm coaching individuals is their lack of follow-up, because they have this idea that they're going to be a pest to the prospect or to the client, that they're following up too much. And what I want everyone to realize is this: when you're prospecting and you have just booked that appointment, or you have just talked to that prospect about following up on their proposal, on the proposal that you've given them, if you put it out 2 weeks, which I see as typical with salespeople, we don't need 2 weeks to review a proposal.
No. And that's a really good point, actually. The best time to arrange a follow-up is whilst you're with the prospect. So you actually say to them, right, we're going to need to go through this. Want to make sure it makes sense. Go through any questions and agree it with them. And if it's a callback, then you might leave it 24 hours, 48 hours. But if it's a proposal, find out when do they need it by? Who else do they need to show it? If you know that they need it, whatever it is, implemented by a certain date, when do they need the proposal by? Agree it, the date, time, how you're going to contact them, and send them a calendar invite for that date and time. That is the best, my best bit of advice actually when it comes to follow-up is just agree it with the client or the prospect. Let's speak Tuesday at 2 o'clock. I'll send you a calendar invite and I will give you a call, and we will need 15 minutes or whatever it is. Just agree it. That's the best advice I can give.
Salespeople, it really is that simple. It really is.
Yeah, we can overly complicate these things, but that is the best thing. I have personally won deals because of that follow-up. I've been up against other sales trainers, and I've said to the prospect, I will call you Tuesday, 2 o'clock. We've agreed here. I've sent them the calendar invite and I've won the deal. And I remember there was one that stuck in my mind and it will stay with me forever. And I said to the client, it was the day I was doing the training, I was packing my laptop up and stuff. And I said to turn to the client, I said, can I just ask you why you chose to work with me and none of the other sales trainers that you spoke to? And he goes, very easy, Simon. It was down to the fact that you maintained control of the sales process. You said we were going to do a follow-up. You told me what was going to happen. You sent me a calendar invite and we agreed it, and that was it. He goes, all of your competitors, and remember, they're meant to be sales experts. All my competitors said things like, I'll call you in a few days. I'll call you next week. Call me if you've got any questions. They just let go of the control. And if a sales expert is doing that, then there's not much hope for anybody else. So best bit of advice, always agree it and stick to it and send them a calendar invite.
So I'm going to share the mindset spin on this, on following up, okay? And this is really important, salespeople. Every hour of every day that goes by, you become less and less of a priority for that prospect. Yeah. So the reason why, as Simon has wisely said, you want to agree with a time, and preferably within 24 to 48 hours, is because of that very short window that you have to stay a priority in that prospect's mind. Too many things will happen if you wait 2 weeks to either follow up or schedule a follow-up. Try to get it within 24 to 48 hours. As I said earlier, you don't need 2 weeks to review a proposal. If other people are involved in the proposal, you may need maybe 3 or 4 days, but they don't need 2 weeks. So the other part of this from a mindset standpoint is when you don't have a follow-up cadence and you don't have a follow-up process, you actually have in your mind, you're so busy, and you think that the prospect is also so busy, and you don't want to bother them. When you have a follow-up process and cadence that you go by, you no longer see following up with that prospect as a bother. Actually, it's the professional thing to do, is to schedule those follow-ups. It's the amateurs, it's the rookies, it's the average salespeople that kind of follow up willy-nilly. And go ahead, Simon.
I was going to say, it shows the disrespect to the prospect as well, because you're just going to be phoning them multiple times during that following week or whatever. And you've got to say to them, you know, I appreciate you're busy and I'm also busy. So let's agree when we're next going to speak. Because if you are, and because if you've got the prospect here, you want to be on the same level as they are. If you are chasing, what you're saying is you are more important than me. I'm willing to spend, you know, 5 attempts this week to try and get hold of you. So you want to be on the same level and just agreeing it, because a sale should be a collaboration. You know, they've got a pain or a need that they need solving, and you've got a solution. You need to work together. Yes, they've got the money and you're hoping they're going to spend it with you, but it should be a collaboration. So to agree it. And yeah, because so many, you said, you know, so many salespeople convince themselves of things, you know, those self-limiting beliefs, something along the lines of, well, if they were interested, they'd get back to me, or I don't want to be a pest, or, you know, that kind of stuff. But actually, it's professional to follow up. You're following up. You're making it about them, not you. You're not following them up to chase a commission check. You're following up to answer their questions, to guide them through the buying process, because they may not have ever bought what you're selling before. They don't know what's involved, and they need you to hold their hand, perhaps through it. So yeah, really important.
One of the analogies I use, Simon, about following up is, you know, when you go to the doctor and he wants tests ordered or he wants to send you to a specialist, they book that right then and there. They don't say, well, you know, get back to me in 2 weeks. You know, they follow up and schedule that appointment right before you leave that office. So we have to have that same professional seriousness about follow-up as doctors do. It sets you apart as being an expert in and taking the prospect's problems and issues very seriously. So you know, I had someone say to me one time when I was a sales team that I coached a couple years ago, Simon, and I went on a sales call with the person, and later the prospect reached out to me and he said, he said, I really appreciate that you're trying to help this team. He said, they make me feel like I'm spaghetti thrown on a wall.
What do they mean by that?
Oh, you don't have that UK term?
No.
This is a really familiar term in the United States when you say, well, okay, I just throw spaghetti on the wall, meaning you sell what sticks to the wall, everything else falls to the floor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have a similar saying in the UK, but it's not spaghetti, but it does start with S. Different. It means the same thing, I think. But yeah, absolutely, that's good. Yes, yeah. If you say about a doctor, I think we could all become better at selling if we adopted a doctor's mindset. I think there's so much the doctor does that we can do in terms of the questioning and probing, and really diagnosing the problem before we start to think about a treatment, all of that kind of stuff. If we acted, all of us, all salespeople acted more like a doctor, would be a lot more successful. One
of the areas that I have found in my coaching practice as well is when a salesperson, Simon, is following up with a prospect, and they're following up and they're following up, and they're not really getting anywhere. They're not getting responses. They're not getting any kind of engagement. They just have a tendency to just don't stop responding or stop sending emails, stop calling. They just stop. And I coach to send a final voice message and a final email. Now, I'm going to share this with everyone, and I'm not saying it works every time, but I'm saying it has worked enough times for me that I've continued to use it. So let me review, Simon, the script with everyone, okay?
Perfect.
And the final message, this can be, actually I suggest that you leave a voice message and then you turn around immediately and send the same message into an email. And it goes like this. Hi, Jim. This is Christine Harrington with the Savvy Sales Lady. Over the last month, I've left several messages. It seems this is a very busy time for you. Since I don't want to be a bother, this is the last message I'll leave. However, if you've been meaning to call me, you can reach me at, and then I repeat my phone number twice slowly, or you can reach me by text message and email. I look forward to hearing from you. Then immediately right after that, I'll send an email, and it'll be basically the very same message. Jim, I just left you a voice message. I thought it might be easier for you if I put the voice message into an email. Over the last month, I've left several messages, and it seems this is a very busy time for you. Since I don't want to be a bother, this is the last message I'll leave. However, if you've been meaning to call me, you can reach me at, and then leave your phone number, or you can reach out to me by text message or reply to this email. I look forward to hearing from you. Now, Simon, like I said, this works often enough that I continue to use it, and I continue to teach and coach using this script, because so many times salespeople just stop altogether. They stop calling, they stop emailing, and it looks like they've just dropped the prospect.
Yeah, yeah. I love your script. I think it's got absolutely the right tone about it. So no, really like that. Really like that approach. I think it's so important, as you say, to give that final one. It might just be what just gives them that nudge to contact you back. Otherwise, if you just stop, then they might go with somebody else who has been following up that a little bit more. So no, I think it's a great approach.
I have a really great story on this too, because I did this sequence, voicemail, then email, and one of my prospects who became a client actually was on the plane, getting on the plane to fly out, and he called me and said, Christine, I just got your email, and yes, I have been really busy. I've been trying to reach out to you, but it's like I think of it at 10, 11 o'clock at night. Can you call me Sunday at 7 a.m.? Absolutely. So I did. He picked up the phone that Sunday at 7 a.m. and we had a great conversation. So, I have story after story like this, but again, does it happen every time? No. It just happens often enough that I'm going to keep using it and teaching it.
Yeah, what you've got is a proven way to do it. It might not work every time, but there is a process, and that's what sales is about. It's about having a repeatable process, and you've got that at that stage. You can pull that script out, you can use it, and most of the time it'll get you the result, the desired result. So that's again something that's very important for us in selling, is to have that process, and just, you know, that's that selling process that we go through, understand what is going to happen next.
Now, Simon, I've got a question for you. So this is a real pet peeve of mine. So I want to see if it's a pet peeve of yours too. And I'll be honest, I did this until I kind of slapped myself and said, what are you doing? And that is, you're in your car, you're in between sales appointments. So you just pick up the phone on the sly, or I should say, pick up the phone on the fly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And make a random follow-up call that you've been meaning to make. Now, I stopped doing that because even when I was leaving voice messages, I kind of fumbled around on the voice message because I wasn't mentally prepared to make that call, and I didn't have my message. Or here's the other thing, Simon. What did I want as a result of that voice message? What outcome do I want? So many times salespeople just make these random follow-up calls just to maybe put it in their CRM that they made the call. So yeah. I got very disciplined about not making calls on the fly, that I had a clear intention of what I wanted as an outcome of that email or that call. And I made them on specific days when I was doing my follow-up and my follow-up cadence. How do you feel about that, Simon?
Well, absolutely the same. And you made some really good points there. One is about preparation. You know, so there's no point doing a follow-up call unless you've got, you know, you've gone through your CRM, you've reviewed the last note, you know, the last few notes perhaps. You've reread the proposal or the last email, so you're actually up to date, because you might have 10, 20, 30, 40 people or more in your sales pipeline. You can't keep all of that in your head. So it's important just to review the last notes, because there's no worse than following somebody up and they go, oh, I thought didn't we talk about that on the email? And you think, oh my goodness, did we? So make sure that you've done all your homework and you've just reviewed, even if it takes 10 minutes, just review the communication you've had with them. The other part you mentioned there is CRM. If you're sat in your car between meetings, and we know unfortunately, how lazy salespeople can be, because they're under a lot of pressure, but they're juggling lots of balls at the same time. They're not necessarily going to put it in their CRM, so they might make that phone call from that car park and then do something else a few days later. But did they actually put it in their CRM? Did they say, I left a voicemail, I sent a follow-up email? Did they say that, or did it not really happen? Because, you know, like, you know, if there's a saying, if a tree falls down in the forest but no one hears it fall, did it fall, or did it make a noise? Same with a salesperson. If the salesperson made the call but didn't put it in the CRM, did they really make a call? So it must go in the CRM, and that's something that is so important for the follow-up. You know, if you are saying to a prospect, I'm going to phone you up on Tuesday at 2 o'clock, yes, it must go in the calendar, it must go in the CRM with the notes, exactly what's going on, in case you're poorly, you can't do that call, and a colleague can then pick it up. Because if you've just kept it in an Excel sheet or in your paper diary, then that's not a CRM system. So very important on those. So do your homework, understand what you want from the call, review all the notes, review the last communication you had, and make sure that as an organization you have a CRM system that you're all using.
We're going to wrap up now. Is there any last words of wisdom you would like to talk about for follow-up, Simon?
Well, I would say this: the follow-up is about the prospect. Make it about them. And obviously, if you've identified during the discovery stages of the sales process with them that there's a compelling event driving the purchasing decision, or, you know, for example, that they've got to upgrade that piece of software by a certain date, you can use that to leverage on the follow-up call to say something along the lines of, I know you want this in place by September. The first, therefore, for us to make sure that happens, we need the go ahead by the end of July. I'm conscious that we're nearly there. Where are you right now? And I think using that kind of information again, it would be very helpful. But yeah, make the follow up about them. They've got an objective themselves. How can your follow up leverage that?
That is great. Make the follow up about the prospect. Doesn't that feel better, salespeople? I love that, Simon. Thank you. And I want to encourage everybody, if you've got questions or if you've got a topic you'd like Simon and I to explore, put it in the comments below section of the video and let us know what you would like for us to solve for you. We're here to help you. So what kind of problems can we solve for you? Would you let us know in the comment section below? And thanks again, Simon. It's always fun with you, and I really, really appreciate all your wisdom.
Well, thank you, Christine. Always a pleasure.
Bye-bye.